Family, friends, and fellow Grumpsters, welcome to Grumpy Gnome Gaming. I am Grumpy Gnome. It's time to start Season 2 of Banished. All right, things are going to be a little different in this season. Let's first of all take a look at the mods we have installed. Oh, by the way, guys, if this is your first time tuning in, I am an avid Banished player. I did get all of my achievements 100%, so you can kind of say that I know what I'm doing here. I have a different play style than most Banished players that are out there. This is not putting anybody down. This is just merely introducing a new concept or play style to Banished. I am a very aggressive player. I'm not really passive. And as you will see if you watch Season 1, my later game gets very intense. Let's start with mods. I have installed all the mods that I really have been missing out on. I was unaware of the Highborn Society, and the Japanese house. I kind of knew the Japanese. I saw the mod, but I never installed it. Highborn, you know what? I got to say that the Banished player, Ashanton, she's the one who kind of turned me on to her elven build village, and I thought that was cool. And as I mentioned before, the Japanese build, I wanted to do something different. Maybe have like different regions, like a Japantown or a Chinatown or something. And it would be nice to kind of theme those regions. I also have installed Nordic cabins because you'll find out in a minute. And the radius color, the blue circles are really kind of cool. It's different from the bland yellowish rings that we've seen. And I really hope this brings out something new. One thing I haven't found were the goth buildings. But you know what? We've got enough here to run with. So let's keep it at that. Okay, the map. What are we doing? We're doing a little town or village called Sugar Mountain. Now, I didn't get any feedback. See my tears. Of any suggestions on what you guys wanted to see for Season 2. So I went to my better half and I said, hey, I need a geographical scenario for Season 2. And out of nowhere, she just threw Appalachian. It's like, cool, we'll do Appalachian. Don't know anything about it. Well, that's not true. I kind of know a little bit about it, but I live on the other side of the country. Here we go. So anyway, I took Sugar Mountain, and this is a nod to Mr. Neil Young. And for the map seed, I spelt out sugar. And that is how I got to this map seed. We're going to do valleys because when I picture the Appalachian region, I do picture some mountains. Well, actually, there's a lot of mountains. But if you really want to get into your buildable areas, you're going to mostly focus on your valley areas. With that said, my terraforming is probably going to be minimal, if any, in this game. I really want to play with the terrain and what I have. And if it restricts me from doing something, so be it. I went down to a large map size. Now, if you saw my first season, you're going to notice that once we hit about 2,500, maybe even right around the 2,000 mark for citizens, we started getting a lot of lag. So some of the things that we got going on here is I went for a vanilla, what do you want to call this, terrain. And then I also dropped down from an extra large map just to a large. I went down to a vanilla weather setting, climate setting. I'm still going to play with disasters on because I'm really not going to bank on orchards or what do you call those things? Pastures. I may have one here, two or there, but we'll get to that. Since we're doing Appalachian, I thought Appalachian forest would be appropriate. And my favorite start is Adam and Eve. A lot of people think that Adam and Eve is a very difficult start. On the contrary, it's actually very easy if you are a micromanager like myself. Because there's nothing more confusing than having a whole group of people and trying to throw them all into their jobs at one time. It's a lot easier to start with the very beginning, and then you can custom build your way up. Let's get into it. Alrighty. So we went over achievements. We went over the mods. I'm also playing with no smoke. I went ahead and I Googled it. It took me to the Steam website. There was a button there that said subscribe to it. I subscribed to it, and boom, all of a sudden it showed up in my mods right up here on top, no smoke. So that, a lot of gamers said that the smoke actually, what do you want to say? It slows your game down. So you see, I did a lot of changes here. I went to mostly vanilla settings, dropped down map size, went to no smoke, and the only thing that's really gonna throw that into a whole loop is that now I'm playing with a crap ton of more mods, which we never even looked at. Mega Mod was my sole mod for the last season 1, Pangea. We added no smoke. I added the red ketchup editor's choice because that really introduces a lot of new things that I thought were neat. We'll play with this and see what happens. The Japanese village, like I said, that I saw that, I was curious about it, and sure enough, there actually is a build for a complete Japanese themed village map, whatever you want to do. And then I think this is where the elven stuff comes from. Yeah, because this is a special icon that appears down in the menu bar. Let's get into this game, man. We're wasting time. Okay, resume. I spent about 15 minutes on this map just kind of looking at what we got going on. You can see the natural curvature here. This is what we're going to play with for our first node. And for those of you unfamiliar with this game, Banished is a resource management survival game. Emphasis on survival. 3 things you need for survival: food, shelter, and warmth. And those are the 3 things that we are going to focus on right away. So with this being our first node right here, and you can see there's a little hill here that's going to prevent us from going too far to the left, but we've got a fix for that. No, I'm not going to flatten it. So this is going to be our first area of concentration. And you're probably saying, okay, what's the rest of the map look like? There's our map. So we do have twin lakes. We do have a lot of mountains. And like I said, I don't plan to do a lot of terraforming. I am going to play with the natural surroundings and see what we can do to make this map work. I'm not familiar with Harsh, so I do not know what type of natural forage we're going to find. I'm almost certain the hunter is going to do his normal venison. What I'm not sure of is what our gatherer is going to get. So let's go ahead and build it up and find out. Okay, I'm going to make a crossroads, which is basically going to indicate where I'm going to build my node in. And my 2 crossroads are going to come off of this point right here. And because I'm not terraforming, I'm going to go up to my highest point where I can build without, I think that's it. My highest point where I can build without having to terraform, the terrain. And I'm just going to build this out to, oh, you know what? I can actually come straight down with it. And then I'm going to come off of this side here. And I think I'm going to drop it right onto here. That's about as far down as I want to go. Yeah. So this is going to be, actually, I should have gone one more up, because if you're going to build bridges, you need to go one up. And then this build going up is going to indicate where my forest node is going to center on. And unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to see this very well, but I'll show you how this is going to work out. So, trying to figure out how we're going to make this work. And I think I'm going to go ahead and drop her. Let's see if I can go halfway up with it. And if I can still, man, you can't see anything here. You know what? We'll play with it. We'll make it work. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is drop in my forester. And forester. See, normally I don't do this. Normally what I will do is go ahead and I will go ahead and build out my what I want. I'll pause everything and then I'll start my gameplay. We'll do that later as we start getting aggressive. Okay, now there is a way I wanted to do this. It's just a matter of finding out how to make it work. And you know what? I can already do, let's see, I believe I want to go one over from the road. So there's my road. I'm going to go one over and I'm going to go straight up until I can grab as much of the surroundings as possible. Now you see I'm clipping my bottom road down there, which is, I'm cool with that. As a matter of fact, I'm too far on my hill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move over 2. I'm going to come over 1, 2, and I'm going to drop my forester right there. So that's going to give the forester the maximum amount of coverage. It looks like he's grabbing these trees here. He might be getting this one, but I can build my road through and not lose anything. So with the forester planted, I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to drop in my gatherer and my hunter. And I'm going to use the same green build here, which I believe is from Kid. And nobody corrected me on my first build. So let's see, we got us a hunter. I think I'm going to do my hunter. Let's go the hunter up into the mountain on the right hand side. So what I need to do is find my forester. Well, let's just go right into the same ring. Boom, boom. Okay, there. Come over 1. I'm going to drop my hunter there. I'm going to pause him. Take him up here. I'm going to put a pause on forester. Boom. Then I'm going to grab my gatherer, which is this dude right here. Notice they're still all green. Come up. There's my road. I'm going to go right to this side of my forester. And what that does is that gives the hunter and the gatherer the maximum amount of coverage inside the forest node. And as my final drop in this node, I'm going to go ahead and put my woodcutter, because that just makes sense to have the woodcutter right where the wood is. I do like this one. The woodcutter does have 2 variations. There's this little covered shed, and the other variation is open. And I'm thinking harsh weather, probably this one's going to make more sense. And we're going to go right to there. I'm going to plug it next to the gatherer, just like that. I'm going to put a pause on it. And there are the 4 buildings that are going to consist of our forest node. Now, one thing we're going to need in this node is a storage barn and a stockpile. For my storage barn, I really don't want to go take too much time going through all of this. The newly discovered, well, for me it is, red ketchup, we're going to go ahead and use his or her small barn, which is right here, the tiny barn. The tiny barn has the same footprint as the tiny barn in the Mega Mod. However, this one includes the roadage, and it already tells us it's going to give us 1600 for storage. I do not know what the tiny barn in Mega Mod actually gives us. I'm going to go directly across from my hunter, and I'm going to drop it there. And then the final thing that we need to drop into this area is our stockpile. And we're going to go with standard stockpile. And let's see, there's my barn. Come over, there's my road. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over one gap. Boom, right there. Because I'm actually going to bring a road up to this. Now, if I go across, I can see that my red is right here. So that's telling me, oh, you can't really see that, but that's 6 across. So I'm going to go 6 across, and because everything is too wide, I'm only going to come down to 2. The previous one we did the forest homes where we came down 3. Here we're coming down 2. And a final look at our node, it's going to look something like that. A perfect rectangle. Notice the gap between the storage barn and the stockpile, and that is the road that is going to connect this region. Oops, that must be my road. And then there is where my road would come. And this one is actually going to come right down to the crosshairs right there. I'm not going to place my roads right now because the Banished have a tendency to like to build roads. And I really don't want them building roads at this moment. Now, because we have a forest node, we need housing. So for housing, I'm going to go with, I used to do the shacks. But here's the thing, by the time you take a shack, which costs 10 and 2, I'm looking at the wood and the stone, and then you turn around and you upgrade it for another cost of 22 and 2 or 22 and 4, you're getting into a very expensive building that's only going to house 4 people. So rather than do that, I'm going to jump right into these little small townhomes, which also have a footprint of 3 across and 2 wide. And I'm going to do my standard, skip over 1. I'm going to drop 1 there. And since these are only 1 model, I'm going to rotate this. There's no sense in looking for corner pieces or, other build styles or whatever, other colors. 1 color, 1 build style, that's all you get. And to show you how well this conforms to our node, boom, it just fits in nice and perfect, gives us a nice little rectangle to go through. That right there is all we need to get started. Now, sure, my bannies are down here. Let's go ahead and remove the roads that we laid out. Because once again, I don't want them building roads right now. Poof. What we do want to do, the very first thing is I want them building a house. So I'm going to send them on their way, and we're going to go at 10 speed because we don't mess around. And they are going to start collecting the resources over here. I'm already going to open this up because... No, you know what? We're not. We're going to keep an eye on our stockpile, which is right there. There's only 3 resources in the stockpile, but otherwise what they're going to do here is they will just bring one piece at a time. So let's get them going on this. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen that kind of movement in a long time. Oh, and I didn't pause our barn, did I? Well, they got the resources from it. Hopefully they don't start building it right away. Anyway, they're going to finish that in no time. Now I'm going to release this. Boom. Now they're going to come over, clear the house. Do we have the resources to build it? No, we need a few more logs. So I am not afraid to pull resources. And we only got 4 stone. What are we going to get off of this? That's it, huh? Okay. So I'm going to go all resources. We'll go ahead and we'll pull a little... You know what? No, let's do this. Let's get some stonage from... Oh, what's close to our stockpile? That's good enough. And then we need to get some trees. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull some trees right from here. Boom. And that should get us a house. I notice you're thinking that this is probably a very open looking screen, so let's go ahead and throw up the things that we need to do. There's our Sugar Mountain, there's our event log, which we're going to put right over here. And let's go ahead and, you know what? What is the one thing that I turn? You know what? Let's not worry about that. We don't need a map. Professions. And I like to go with the single scrolly one over here. And we're going to drop that right down there. And that's everything we need. Okay. So we got, let's go ahead and continue building. Still got, oh, okay, now we got iron ore. Do we have enough? We don't have enough. We need a couple more stone and a couple more, what do you call it? Logs. So let's go back into our resource collection, which I'm totally brain farting on right now. And let's go ahead and collect a couple more logs. You know what? We're actually going to need quite a bit because I want to build this whole node before this episode ends. And you know what? Let's just concentrate on this right down here. That should be enough. And get some stonage. Ah! I don't know what I just did there, but it went boof. Okay, that's good. Now, do they have all the 16, 8? Both of them. Get on building. The reason I build the house first is because I want them... Okay, kids, cover your ears. I want them making babies as soon as possible. So, for those of you unfamiliar with Banished, this game does get deep when it comes to family creation. So you got to have a bit of an imagination here. But our first 2 settlers on Sugar Mountain are the Barkers. We got Burrel and we got Natha. Anyway, he's 13, she's 16. Yeah, you guessed it. And now that we got the shelter part down and the baby creation underway, for lack of a better way of putting it, now I'm going to focus on my food and I'm going to focus on my warmth. The first food item I'm going to open is actually my gatherer. And I'm going to take both of them off. I could even leave them on builder, because if there's no roads and no buildings to build, they will naturally go into labor mode. So let's try that out. So I'm going to build my gatherer, and let's hit play. And I think they're moving. Yep, they're moving. I don't need this up here anymore. Oh yeah, I kind of do, because that's going to tell me what resources I have. And I can already tell that I'm out of logs. So we need to gather some more logs. Let's pull some from there. Boom. You notice, oh my gosh, it's getting bright in here. I'm starting to notice something that I'm not used to, and this might be a completely different gameplay. I'm starting to wonder if the resources are fewer with red ketchup on than it is in the Mega Mod. Okay, so far we haven't come across any issues. Now that we've got boom boom, our gatherer built, I am going to throw one person in this gathering shack, or this little gathering thing, right away. I'll even show you guys what it looks like, because it's kind of cute. So we're going to go to food. It's this green gatherer here. This is it. Boom. That is the gatherer. So anyway, we got one in there. Once again, I am a micromanager. I'm going to take my food limit right to 999,999. Let's just call it 1,000,000. And leave it. Set it and forget it. Boom. Gatherer's done. We are not going to touch that gatherer again until later day, unless I drop a second gatherer into there. Now, to prevent our gatherer from running back and forth to this cart every time he or she has food, my barn comes next. Anyway, let's go ahead and speed it up. I didn't really want to make this a tutorial, and we need more logs. Okay, let's... I'm almost thinking we should just clear everything out of here, but I don't want to get that drastic. Boom. Let's do this. And are we moving? Something indicate to me that we're moving. Yeah, trees falling. There we go. So, as soon as I see that the resources are here, as a matter of fact, I'm going to take my one guy, and guess what? I'm just going to leave him or her on builder, since we're not dealing with any roads right now. Boom, tiny barn is built. Now the gatherer has a place to put the food. They live here, they gather here, and their food is being stored right here. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do, and this is just something I do out of habit, is my hunter. Now, I'm only in early summer, but actually this entire node is going to be built before the winter comes. So let's get going on that. I don't see my barn in here. It should be right around here somewhere. $12, that's good. $20, that'll build my hunter. The reason I bit, and look at this, we've already got our first child. And that's why I always do housing first. I am a big proponent. Whoop, there's our 30. I am a big proponent for creation, if you want to call it that. I love to keep my map as populated as possible. The faster they can pump out their kids, the faster I get into my aggressive building, and all is well. Now, you can tell here that his or her focus is right now on collecting all of the resources that we slated for collection, and I'm not upset with that. But one thing that I can do, since that's what he or she decided to do, is I can take my 3 remaining things, take the pause off of all of them, and then just let him or her build at their leisure. Now, what I am going to do, we're keeping an eye on this child. As soon as this child becomes labor age, he or she, Hestel, almost looks like Hansel. Okay, there's our forester. I'm going to leave a 200 limit on the forester, only because it's not going to be long before, or it's going to be a while before we need more than that. Different from, and there's our winter, and I'm glad this hunter is the next thing, because I switch my, oh wow, this harsh thing put late autumn into our, that's interesting, because it's normally winter. I follow the seasons with my hunter and gatherer, especially since there's only one. So normally what I do is at first snow, I will take my gatherer off of gathering, and I will put the gatherer as a hunter. So you can see that they've already built us up to 716. So we're going to go off of gathering, and we are going to hunt until the snow melt. And what that's also going to do is that is going to get us a variety of food. It's going to get us protein, and it's going to get us the nutrients. And let's leave that up there just so we can watch that being built. So if we come to our gatherer, we do this. This will actually show us what we've got. And we've got this variety of foods so far. And I am very happy to see this. Because what this is already telling me is I've got oats for my stable. I'm getting a little bit of flax. I would have liked more. But this is going to be for my linen weaver, which is one of my main commodities. I really rely on the fabric industry to get me my trade goods. And the linen weaver is one of the things that I love to build. And since I find flax naturally, there's no need to go out looking for it. The rose hips is probably going to become our jam shop when we get ready for that. The blueberries is going to go to our tavern for the to make our happiness people. Mushrooms, we can smoke the mushrooms. And of course, for some of you that have an expanded mind, you might question the whole mushroom thing. Ginger, not really necessary. And roots, if we choose to do the other, the other type of tavern. One of them is the Pilgrims something, and these two down here. So one of them is the White Swan. That's this one. This is where my blueberries go. This one here, the Pilgrim's Rest. I believe this one makes root beer with the roots. So that shall be determined. Oh, the other two influencers or banished players that I do follow that I would recommend are Candy64 and Bluebelly. And the reason I'm mentioning the two of them are because they are both doing a tropical scenario right now. And that's really why I wanted to do Appalachian. I didn't want to throw another tropical out there. Let's keep some variety going, kind of like a buffet. You know, if you don't like chicken, you go to meat. If you don't like chicken or meat, you go to fish. So we're going to keep the variety going. Let's unpause. We probably have a few more minutes that we can burn. So we're going to go ahead and watch them build the forester. And that is going to complete the node. And then I will show you what we're going to do for episode number 2. Come on, build it, build it, build it, build it. And 21, knock it out, knock it out. Boom, and she's done. Now, my ring is not there. That's interesting. Normally the ring would... Oh, that's the firewood yard. I didn't need that. The forester's the one with the ring. So what I will do with the firewood yard, though, let's go ahead and put in a small road while we can. And we always play with dirt roads in the beginning. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is just lay out a road right here on their frontage. Boom. And that's going to give it a little bit of appeal. And we can go ahead and build the road coming down here already. So let's go ahead and once again put in our crossroads. So I like to come between the stockpile and the barn. That way if people need to go up into that region, they can go up and get their things. I don't need to come all the way down. I just need to come down far enough that I can make my little crosshairs right here. Yep. Boom. Just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and clip this so it looks neat. Just like that. And I'm going to clip this just far enough to get me to the cart. Boom. And then this little road, this little area right here is going to be our next build. Over here, we're going to put in a blacksmith. We're going to put in one tailor for now. More on that later. You'll know where I'm going at with that if you saw my previous episodes. I'm also going to drop in a herbalist, which is going to benefit from the ring of influence our forester has. So even though the herbalist is outside of the ring, I will go ahead and show you this. I know I'm probably rattling. I'm just so excited to get another season going. I used the small town builds. Once again, Kid, awesome job, man. I always like to give credit where credit is due. So here we go. So all of my things are going to be small town because you've seen this before. And once I put him on this road, just like this, and actually, where is it coming down? Oh, I will. There it is. No, there it is. So more than likely than not, it's going to either go. Well, the forester is right on the road. Herbalist will either go there or there. Probably there. I think that's going to get more forester in. And you can see the ring of influence that goes into the forest node. That is where the herbalist is going to get all the herbs from. Next to that, I'm going to drop in a small market, which is also by Kid. It's a green one. Then I'm going to go blacksmith. Then I'm going to go tailor. And then we're already going to drop in a stable. And we're going to drop in the white, was it the what? The White Swan, the 4x4 tavern for the blueberries. And you're going to see that I'm already going to start using my oats. I'm already going to start using my blueberries. And that is why it is important to know what your gatherer collects naturally. And unlike my first episode for the first season, we're not going to go nuts with the trading posts this time. We are going to, in true Appalachian style, we're going to try to live off the land. And I may even throw in a little quirky theme to it. This is giving a nod to Lynchburg, Kentucky. And we may just start going into some type of a bourbon or whiskey type distillery. So some of you may know who I'm talking about. Anyway, yeah, tobacco is probably going to be a crop we're going to deal with a lot. Some type of hard alcohol is going to be another one of our commodities here. And we're just going to try to theme this the best we can. I'm not going to go nuts with my mines. I'm going to go ahead and place what I need when I need it. As a matter of fact, we may even go very excessive. I know I just contradicted myself. We may go very excessive with coal mining because the Appalachian area is a very heavily coal mine influenced area. Anyway, there is our first node completely built, completely manned and womaned. And you can see we're off to a good start. We're not starving, we're not freezing, and we got our first baby. Hey guys, if you like this, please give me a like. If you didn't like it, give me a sympathy like. But also tell me why you don't like it. If I talk too much, don't worry, I will shut up in future episodes. It was just that this is the opening for Sugar Mountain, and I wanted to give as much introduction into this as possible. Anything further on from here is probably going to be more constructive to what we're doing. And that's it. If you want an idea of what we're going to do, this is going to come out. We're going to actually put a fishing dock right here. I've already tested it, and it is a perfect fit for this little opening right here. So we're going to go ahead and drop in a fishing dock right there. This does not open to the river, so there's no trading post here, but we may go ahead and start dropping in some traders either here or up here. Once again, I do not plan to do much with the riverbank. I'm just going to try to place what I can, where I can, and we're going to see how this works out. All right, guys, thanks for coming on this journey with me. If you are not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. Hit the little dingy notification thing. If you are subscribed, please tell 10 people about this channel. If you don't know 10 people, tell 5 people, but tell them twice. And then ask them to tell 10 people each. Let's grow this channel. Let's get some Grumpsters out there, and I'll see you in episode 2. I am Grumpy Gnome. I'm out of here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take care, people. Bye-bye.